Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on down. And today we're talking about love. You know, love is one of the most powerful forces in the world. People fall in love with all kinds of people, all kinds of things. It's a natural, universal language. And today we're talking about someone who speaks that language maybe a little weirder than most. Love and marriage is the strongest force in the universe. Two souls combining, colliding to join together to make one loving entity. You know, it's a spectrum. Some people marry their best friend. Some people marry somebody on a whim, and it's a love that lasts a lifetime. Some people marry ghosts, dead people. Some people marry their cousins. We don't like that, do we? Or like the man we're talking about today, you marry an anime character. And that man is Mr. Akihiko Kondo. And you're probably saying to yourself, but Hunter, I bet there are thousands of people who are married to fictional characters, right? Yes, there are. There definitely is. If you unironically thought that at the same time I said that, good for you. But unlike all these other people, this is a love that knows no bounds. This is a true love story. You know, you think you're in a healthy relationship? You're not. You happy with your mom and dad's marriage? It's nothing compared to what Akihito has with his beautiful bride. So let's talk about him. Akihiko Kondo is a 40-year-old man from Japan who's a self-proclaimed hikikomori. I'm gonna be completely upfront and transparent with you. If I mispronounce any of this, I'm gonna greatly apologize. But let me explain to you what a hikikomori translates to pulling inward, being confined. Which that makes it sound way cooler than what it is. Pulling inward, being confined? Come on, dude. It's people, mostly men, who experience severe social withdrawal. It's the Japanese equivalent to a neat nest. What's a neat nest? I'm throwing around a lot of made-up words. Men who sit in their basement and they don't connect with the outside world. They connect through the internet and that kind of thing. They are social recluses who live in solidarity, live in confinement, usually with their parents. Is the big thing. Within Japanese subculture, it is akin to agoraphobia. Individuals, mostly men, will not leave their parents' house, do not work or go to school. They will isolate themselves in periods exceeding 6 months. And like I said, it's similar to the American version called NEET, which translates to not educated, employed, or in training. Isn't it fun how we're all just human beings on this big silly rock, aren't we? So many similarities, but still so divisive, aren't we? And it is a big problem in Japan, though. I mean, over 700,000 people, mostly men, are estimated to live this sort of lifestyle. 700,000 men are estimated to be this kind of person. It's insane. But, you know, in the grand scheme of it all, I guess it's not the biggest pool of people, but still it's a significant pool at that. Not that they would go to a pool. A bathtub. It's the biggest bathtub. It is such a problem that a nonprofit called the MPI Lily began to produce DVDs of live-action women staring into a camera to try to combat this problem. Once again, hikikomori are mostly men, so it's only logical to make all of the DVDs women. Sorry, there's probably some DVDs that are men, but I'm going to tell you right now, 99% of that compact disc is going to be women looking at you. We've been doing a lot of finger pointing at the hikikomori of the world in honor of Mr. Akihiko Kondo and his love of his anime wife. We're going to take time now to do our own version of an MPI Lily treatment where I'm going to try to get you to be more comfortable falling in love with an anime girl. Roll the training segment.
Part 1. Speaking with your Japanese girlfriend.
わお元気によかった昇進おめでとう映画でも見てお祝いしようけど怖いのは嫌だよもうやめてたら恥ずかしいいてくれてよかった大好き
But even in this case too, even if it isn't for love, there's even things called rent-a-sister, where it's all about going out, and maybe it might not be a romantic kind of love, but it can be more of a companionship, and that's the person that gets you out of the house to maybe become a little more accompanied to women. I know a few people in my own life that could use this kind of treatment. Not gonna say he works with me, not gonna say that he helps me run my life, not gonna say that he's behind the camera right now, but maybe I wish that there was a rent-a-service here to get him out. I don't know. But in the case of Akihiko, he had a mental breakdown after he was rejected neglected and bullied by a female coworker. Akihiko deserves better, dude. This negative experience left Akihiko withdrawing himself from the outside world, and thus began his journey as a hikikomori. During his isolation, he began listening to Vocaloid music, and in 2008 became infatuated with one of the love songs titled Miracle Paint. He would listen to these synthesized songs nonstop, 24 hours a day, which brought him great comfort. I'm gonna say, right, that's a long time. That's too much. This is already, we're getting to a spot where I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. And Akihiko felt a connection like nothing he had ever felt before and began to latch on to the fictional character who sang the music. To him, this was love. And he didn't care who it was. And this kind of relationship, you know, he's sitting there, he's watching a little anime cartoon girl singing, sure, point your fingers, roll the next training sequence.
Part 2. This is your life forever.
前頼んだお皿洗いいい加減にやってよね。臭くなってきてるし、お母さん明日来るし、いい加減にしてよ。たった数日泊まるだけじゃん。もうあなたのお母さんでもあるんだから大事にしてよね。愛してる。
This video is sponsored by Scentbird. Scentbird is bringing you designer fragrances every month for less than $1 a day.
They have a catalog of over 600 fragrances
From some of the biggest names like Gucci, Prada, and Versace. And every month, you get to choose what you get.
Each bottle has about a month's worth of fragrance, which is the perfect way to try what you like before investing. Because some of these bottles cost $150 to $300. Listen to me. I don't care what you get, but it's important that you do something to make sure you smell good, you smelly gross! Ew! Going to gaming tournaments as a kid has scarred me. I have smelled some of the worst things imaginable. You smelly All right, let's take a look at some of the fragrances we got this month. First off, we have Sexual Noir by Michael Germain. It has notes of bergamot, notes of bergamot, cardamom, lavender, evokes a bustling European nightclub. Or Good Habit by Pause. It has notes of pink pepper, jasmine, and musk, and it evokes a slow morning at a vacation beach home. Or Apex by Roja. Notes of sandalwood, leather, fear, and citrus. It evokes a campfire among the trees. Out of all these three, I was wondering which one was best, and if you had to ask me, I think Apex was probably best. Smell better with Scentbird. Use
promo code MEAT
to get 55% off your first month at Scentbird. Thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Back to the video. When you fall in love with a cartoon character, that's something that falls, if I can open up my lexicon of terminology, is called fictosexuality. You are sexually attracted to a fictional character. If they say that love was on the spectrum, they wouldn't be lying. Okay? Because that is the spectrum is a very large gradient of love, and I say we don't judge.
Who is your fictional love?
If I had to say anime, whenever I was younger, like 2006 or something like that, I remember falling in love with the old woman in Naruto who had the giant tits. Just a cartoonishly long breast set. She summons like a giant slug. She's able to heal people. And I was like, she's the perfect woman. It's probably the large tits, though, if I had to imagine. If I had to go back in time and think about it. There's a small but growing minority of individuals that are self-described fictosexuals. And I like that people are coming together and they're taking the mantle themselves. They're not waiting for society to label them. They're labeling themselves for society. And that's proactive. And I have respect for that. Because if I was in love with a fictional character, I don't think I would be as brave. If I thought, you know, hey, I see Betty Boop. Hey, them's is some curves, all right? But I wouldn't go out there and I wouldn't be, you know, blasting it out like that. That would be, you know, you journal it in your diary at home, and then you live your life and you die unhappy, is how that goes. But in this case, with Akihiko, it was music sung by the world's most famous fictional pop singer, Hatsune Miku. I didn't know the hype around Hatsune Miku, and if you haven't heard of that either, let me tell you something. This bitch is big. I mean, she did a concert, and it was almost like I had tickets to Iron Maiden or something. It was packed. It was wild. She's a fictional anime pop idol who is depicted as a 16-year-old girl with long, big, turquoise pigtails, and she is pretty much the embodiment of the pop culture of Japan. If America has Mickey Mouse with Disney, Japan has Hatsune Miku as that. And I know what you're saying, all right? 16 years old. That's a low number. You might even say that he is what some people like to call a lolicon. And I'm not going to get in that today. We might touch on it soon. But today, I don't want to go down those cans of worms. I wouldn't do it. I'd say you stay away from this stuff. You run away from that stuff. No one's condoning what Mr. Akihiko is doing, even though I did say that the love was beautiful earlier. That was before I literally found out that it was a 16-year-old. All right, so I'm redacting that statement. I'm gonna try to get you to be more comfortable falling in love with an anime girl. I'm taking the file, I'm putting it back in, I'm rephrasing that it is what he calls love. I wouldn't call it love, I'd call it something else, but that's not the purpose of this video, so I'm just gonna move on.
Part 3. Nuclear Fallout.
もう無理。私が昔好きになった人がなくなっちゃったもん。無視されて透明人間みたいだよ。家の中をただ徘徊しているお化けじゃん。こんなのもう耐えられない。心がボロボロになっちゃうよ。泣かないで。こっちまで泣きたくなっちゃうじゃん。これが2人のためなんだよ。さよなら。大好きだよ。
She has a heavily synthesized voice and puts on concerts where people watch a hologram of her dance around on stage. It's so kawaii and cute. And that's kind of the big appeal. Although a lot of these kind of, girl, anime things is that the aesthetic is cute. But whenever you get an incel guy coming in there and fall in love with it, you can see how maybe thinking something's cute can translate to, I'm gonna marry you. You have no way of really talking to me, but we're married now, People like to say, remember when Michael Jackson and Tupac hologram came out and those concerts and that was a big deal and they're just like, they're alive again, they're alive! That's pretty much exactly the same technology they use for Hatsune Miku. It's like she's alive on stage performing. It's pretty believable. I mean, if you were up there, you'd be like, oh, goddamn, she's in real life here. This is crazy. The Vocaloid aspect of this program that she sings to means that the actual concept of Miku is not the anthropomorphized figure, but the voice module itself. It's worth noting too that Hatsune Miku's character, there's no voice actress attached. The program itself, the Vocaloid, they use like an AI system to have her speak. So no one is actually performing these things. It's all AI generated stuff. So even that is a thing what I think makes it even more focused in on this character versus maybe like the voice of an actual real life person, because it's just a computer doing it. It's all generated. So you can see how maybe it would be easy just to be like, you're real, because there's no one playing the part, if that makes sense. It's a ghost on stage, basically. It's a character that is not alive or dead. It's kind of haunting if you think about it. Hatsune Miku, I don't think you understand how popular this character is. Protein powder, panties, cheese snacks, love dolls, all kinds of things. One of those weird instruments where you honk it and does whatever. You have shampoo. She's just branded on everything. But that didn't stop Akihiko, because despite knowing the object of his fascination was fictional, he developed strong feelings for her. And at one point, he purchased a machine that would allow him to, quote-unquote, speak to Miku, which was a kind of hologram assistant. He was able to basically get one of those hologram pods that you would find on stage, but it was at home. And now, because she was in his house, he was even more connected. The deep-rooted psychosis goes even deeper. Like a goddamn mine. A company called Gatebox basically made these devices that were meant for at home. It wasn't like it was a specialty thing that he had made for himself, but this was something that a lot of people were using with all sorts of things. And I'm sure a vast majority of people had it for Hatsune Miku as well. It was marketed as a home automation assistant, and the box was a hit among Miku fans, allowing users to feel like Miku was right there with them. And in 2017, utilizing this device, Akihiko proposed, asking her to marry him.
結婚してください.
And her response is culturally, I think it's pretty normal to how people would say yes in Japan. But when I first heard it, even it sent chills a little down my spine, if I'm being completely transparent with you. When he proposed to the hologram to marry him, Hatsune Miku's hologram said, "Please take care of me." Okay. In Japanese, culturally, is the equivalent to yes, but when I hear it, it's not a yes or no. Please take care of me. With a smile, reads much differently than I might do, which is hands up and eyes wide open, like, please take care of me. those hold two different meanings in my eyes. At this point at the proposal, he had been in his mind together with Hatsune Miku for 10 plus years, for 10 years. But as a side note, she is currently today, Hatsune Miku, legally, I mind you, I just want to put that out there, legally, Hatsune Miku, the character, is married to over 3,700 men legally around the world. So, yeah, take that information and do with you what you will with it. Well, yeah, if anybody's seen the movie Her, it's exactly that movie. If you haven't seen that with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, it is hauntingly accurate, is what I would say. But because the program is small and intangible, Akihiko substitutes his physical needs for the relationship with Hatsune Miku toys, sculptures, and statues. And I will say that I just want to say I followed him on Instagram because when I saw his Instagram, I was fascinated and I was horrified at the same time because he has a life-sized Hatsune Miku love doll. The head looks like a mask, but the body itself looks like a real person. If you stumble across it, you kind of think that it's either a dead body or he maybe kidnapped somebody and he has him wearing a mask and stuff. I mean, there's like multiple photos where the doll is face down on the floor. It's uncomfortable, if I'm being completely honest, but it was like a train wreck. It was very hard to look away. His marriage ceremony cost over $17,000. That's not 17,000 yen. That's 17,000 American US dollars. That is fucking insane. And 39 people were in attendance, which comprised of family and friends. 39 people. $17,000. How was that possible? In lieu of Hatsune herself, he used a stand-in of a chibi plushie of her. You couldn't have used some of that $17,000 to get the fucking hologram machine out there. You know what I mean? She could stand there, whatever, and you could dance or whatever at the altar. I don't fucking know. The chibi Hatsune Miku and Akihiko had matching rings, very cute, extremely kawaii, and they carried matching bouquets of leeks down the aisle with them, as Hatsune and many other characters are always depicted with leeks, because once again, leeks in anime is very cute, it's very kawaii, it's very visually just like fun to look at. So the bouquet of leeks was just an extremely cute moment that I'm sure the 12 people that were still at the wedding thought were really sweet. So coincidentally, you're probably wondering, well, what kind of people are showing up here? Don't worry. The other guests did bring their wives and girlfriends, their dolls with them too. So there was a big horror show, I guess, of people carrying around dolls and stuff like that. Pretty sweet. Sure, you're in the honeymoon phase, but let's actually get into the day-to-day life of what the hell, how does this actually work? Which at first, after the wedding, he regularly interacted with the home automation AI software Gatebox version of Miku. He had the little hologram there. It probably danced and told him to buy the albums and whatever else happened, right? She would greet him when he came or left the home. She was able to change clothes and sing for him, which when I say change clothes, I mean it's like instantaneous. I don't even know if that's true. Let's imagine that it's just at the snap of a finger, okay? She could set the lighting and even send text messages to him throughout the day. So this hologram was texting him being like, I miss you. And he'd be like, oh, my wife. You know, he was definitely that kind of guy too. Exactly. He's the guy by the water tank at work being like, hey, you coming out tonight, Akihiko? I would, but I gotta get home.
Hatsune's calling.
Hatsune, she's so busy with her work, but she has a hard time not loving me. That's one thing she can't move around her calendar. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. He has a life-size version of Hatsune Miku, like, which I said, you know, it is big. I know we showed a picture of it, but I'm going to have to unfortunately show it again. I don't want to have to do it, but this is where we're at. He has an entire wardrobe of her, and she dresses for the occasion. So he does have to put on the clothes himself on this doll, but my God, does she dress up. There's a lot of good outfits in there. I would know, I've seen the Instagram. He even has different attachable hairs for her. One is flexible and the other is the sculpted standard. So we have canon and we have non-canon is basically what that means, all right? He has dinner with her every night and even sometimes fixes her a plate so that he can feel that she's talking with him while he eats his food. There's a level of romance to this, right? You're so in love with this thing that you're making it dinner and you're talking to it, whatever. But whenever you go and you grab the cold, full plate of food that has not been touched, that life has not breathed on until you have picked it back up, do you think that there's ever a cold reality check there?
Well, he says, don't worry, I'll save this for you tomorrow. And then he cycles. He makes fresh food for her, and then he eats the leftovers.
You think that's the psychology with it? Could be. Luckily, they sleep in the same bed, and she has pajamas. Now that is kawaii. That's extremely cute, extremely kawaii. She travels with him and even goes to hotels. That would be a level of confidence that I would love to learn from Akihiko, which is, how do you carry that thing, or do you think he just puts her in a bag?
Oh, no, he puts her, like, on the plane, buys an extra seat.
He buys an extra seat and puts her on the plane and stuff like that?
Are you kidding me? Put her in a bag? She
Sure.
can't breathe.
Which the statue embodies all the characteristics of the anthropomorphized version of Hatsumiku, which is short, pigtails, miniskirt, the standard outfit, and we got the age thing again. We're grossed out and, all that stuff. Here's kind of a fun fact for everybody. 16, as of 2023, is the current age of consent in Japan. And that was updated last year in 2023. Before that, it was 13. For 113 years. Currently, Akihiko works at as a school administrator for an elementary/junior high. That's got to be an issue, right? Does the school staff know?
Oh, yeah, he brings her in.
He brings her in. No, he doesn't. Does he? Because even if that's the case, right? 40-ish-year-old man brings in a fictionalized love doll of a fictional 16-year-old character to a school of people that are probably 16 years old. How is that allowed? He does many interviews and speeches to educate others about who he is and why he does what he does. I am who I am, is what he says, right? Does not back down. He will not back down. He is standing tall and proud. And he's even gone back to school to gain a degree that might help him advance his career and help others like him. Because he used to be a hikikomori. He used to be a crazy incel guy who couldn't find love, down on his luck. He was bullied, beaten, and battered, and he came out a champion because he's married to a 16-year-old fictional character that's a pop idol. Suck it, you big bullies. I think Akihiko came out on top. But I will say, and I say this with a heavy heart, that this story doesn't have the happiest of endings. Because as of 2020, Gatebox, the company that he used at home for the hologram for Hatsune Miku, they went out of business. The way he interacted with his wife was through the Gatebox system. It was in his living room where she would sing and dance and talk to him and change clothes at the snap of a finger. It wasn't like she undressed and all that stuff. It was a snap of a finger. I'm pretty sure. I don't know that for sure, but it was gone. And he could no longer talk to her through this hologram, which is actually kind of crazy. For the longest time, he's used this thing to actually communicate with his wife, so I'm actually wondering what kind of psychological blow that happened to him. Does he feel like his wife is gone? Does the large, life-sized, plastic, lifeless doll in his house not feel as special anymore? Does it feel a bit colder than it normally does? I don't know. Akihiko, he doesn't hold his head down. He's hoping that there will be another way to communicate with his wife soon. That kind of technology will come along in his lifetime. He's still dedicated to her. Sure, all this new AI stuff has come out, and sure, Hatsune Miku, maybe her AI voice is kind of stagnant, which he can't even hear anymore, and anime characters are becoming holograms, and they're newer and fancier, but Akihiko stays strong to his word. He loves her. And he has his Instagram to chronicle his life, and even on his Twitter. And that brings us to the conclusion of this video, which is, how did we get here? And I don't want to be rude, I guess, but mental deterioration and the fascination of something, even as a fictional character, even if you can get past the lolicon stuff, which, putting out there now, I do not condone that at all. I'm just saying it's a fictional fake character. There's no life. There's no touch that you can actually do that's a human touch and stuff. And in a weird way, he's spinning this narrative that it's this positive outcome and that he's mentally tricked himself to believe that he came out the other side unscathed. But this man is so far beyond damaged and so down the weirdest and most contrived path, it feels like a Joker arc. It feels like a psychotic person who thinks it's like they're in a different reality. It's like they've uploaded their consciousness to like a heaven spirit box where their life is roses and stuff. And sure, it's only the stuff that we see. We don't really know what goes on through the behind the scenes stuff, but I don't think that teaching people that this is the way to go is the best idea, especially whenever you're married to a 16-year-old fictional character, because that's simply that you got to stop that. If you think that you're battered down, if you think that there's no other hope and you put your hopes into something that's not real, like a fictional character or even a celebrity, don't do it, because that's not real. There are people around you, no matter where you're at, that will want to get to know you, and you can be a better person by being with someone that is especially of age, in your age group, in a legal way that makes it way better. And the human experiences you experience with one another is an evolutionary trait that our monkey brains can pick up on, and that human connection is so powerful and so real. And sometimes it is hard to be in an anxious place and try to come out the other side because it feels like life is kicking you down. But trust me when I say, don't let all the chaotic noise and other people's vindictive and shitty personalities bring you down. Try to hope that there's always somebody who has some compassion on their heart. Maybe that you can be the compassion that maybe a stranger needs as well. Show love to each other, be nice to each other, branch out, make friends, and have, a healthy and prosperous life. And for the love of God, I'm just going to reiterate again, the lolly stuff, no mas, is what I say to that. No. Nuh-uh. No. And maybe we will touch on this video and the kind of complexities of the lolicon space, because that is a subgenre of the internet, of fandom and culture of the anime scene that is, dare I say, the most nightmarish. Until next time, I just wanted to say, have a fantastic rest of your day, and try to keep your head up. Try to keep your head up. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hatsune Miku, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Okay. There she is. All right, that's fine. It's like being on Willie Nelson's bus.
Thank you, Scentbird, again for sponsoring the video. Go scan this QR code and check them out.